Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alecia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is
Twisted and Uncorked. I forgot to put triple sec in it.
What?
Fuck!
I forget that that's like the most important part.
1 second. Emergency. All right, I'm gonna. Oh, I thought I stirred it. Didn't stir it. Oh, yeah, that was a bad life choice.
I feel like gagging right now because you just did that for some reason. I'm going to take a drink of water.
I'm so sorry. You know exactly what just happened. It was just a mouthful of triple sec.
Okay.
I wasn't there for it. I did learn something new, and people are going to think that I'm just like a torture fanatic. However, I have a list of fun facts and I need to go in order, and I didn't use my fun fact last week because I told you guys about murder instead.
Yeah.
My neighborhood is a very safe place to live where women go missing and murders happen.
You know, the usual.
You know, I learned about an ancient Greek torture mechanism called the Sicilian bull.
Ew.
Fun fact, it was invented in Italy. And in Sicily in particular. And we know how the Greeks and the Romans liked to copy each other back then. Mm-hmm. So this device was made out of bronze. It was in the shape and a size of an actual bull. And the condemned person would be locked inside of it. And then a fire was set beneath, heating the bronze until the person inside got roasted to death. And the device was specifically designed so that the person's screams were converted into bellows of a bull.
That's gross. Also, Jesse is Sicilian, so now I'm scared.
Don't fuck with Jesse. He might put you in a giant bronze bull.
Maybe.
I know, people are like between my episode last week and my new fascination with telling you guys about medieval torture mechanisms, people are gonna start questioning me.
Possibly.
Yeah. People are gonna be like, Sarah, you're not in a safe spot.
Let me bring it back to a happier place. Actually, let me give you the exact address. South Finley Street, Athens, Georgia, 30605. There is a tree, a white oak tree, that legally owns itself.
What?
Yes.
That is the best thing I've ever heard.
So, like, there was some guy in the early 1800s who loved this tree, and in his deed, like, he owned the land that the tree was on, but in his deed, he deeded the tree to own itself after he died. So then, like so the
no
tree,
one can cut down the tree?
No one can ever cut it down. But then in 1942, there was a really big windstorm that knocked over the tree.
No.
So then, like, it couldn't own itself anymore. But there was in the windstorm, the tree, one of its seedlings obviously came off. So people replanted it. And because the seedling was an offspring of the tree, it legally inherited the land that it was on. Oh my God. So now the new tree owns the land, and it's just fucking awesome. It's amazing. It's great. I love it.
That is how nature should always be.
Yes, it is. And I want to point out that one of my friends on Facebook, someone that I was in the military with named Lucas, I don't know if he listens to this or not, but just in case he does, I found this on his Facebook profile, him talking about this, and it was it was great.
Cool.
It was
so
great.
You needed to share it with the twisted humans.
Yes, thank you, Lucas.
That is amazing.
Amazing. It makes me so happy.
That is like the most us fun fact ever.
Yeah. So here we are. This is Twisted and Uncorked. We make you extremely unhappy And
15.
then happy again. Yes.
Yeah, right?
Episode 15.
You've had 15 episodes of a very uncomfortable mix of emotions. You're welcome.
All the emotions. For sure.
We've been right there with you guys. We have to do the research and all the work for this, and then when I edit it later, listen to it again. So
Right.
I get to experience it twofold, but we seriously love it, and we love you guys, and welcome. As promised, Sierra's bringing us back up on the mood train from my case on Colleen Stan last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super excited to hear what she's covering today.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. But
But
first.
first, sangria.
Sangria.
We're getting good at this whole episode thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, before I drink all of my sangria, let's talk about it because it's really good.
So obviously, again, from last week, we had a Pinot Noir. It is the Three Ghost Vine variety. And in the recipe for this week, we have triple sec, sugar, which I forgot to put in, a frozen bag of mixed berries, which I actually put in a frozen bag of mixed fruits consisting of strawberries, pineapples, and mangoes. I didn't do berries. Sorry.
Sounds delightful.
Sliced
Sometimes
lime.
you gotta work with what you got.
Right. Sliced lime, sliced lemon, sliced orange, and then seltzer or fruit flavored but unsweetened drink. So I'm going to be completely honest here. In the TikTok video, I did not use a seltzer because I forgot to pick one up. I just put lemon juice and lime juice in it. Like I said, used a frozen bag of strawberries, pineapples, and mangoes, and then I garnished with a strawberry.
It looks really pretty.
It's delicious. It's so great.
So good. Mine is, I actually got 1 lemon, 1 lime, and 1 orange for the recipe, and the lady judged me at the checkout and thought it was weird, but whatever. So mine's really tart because I've had it sitting since yesterday, and it's really good though. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't add the sugar because it's really hot here right now. I know I'm wearing a hoodie, but it's nighttime and my window's open, so it's fine. But I didn't use a seltzer either. I just used soda water.
Yeah.
But I put a healthy dose of wine in it, so.
Yes, same. I also did not use the sugar, and I'm glad because my strawberries, mangoes, and pineapples made it sweet
really
enough.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually really sweet.
So good, guys.
It is so good.
Ugh.
Also, if you're watching this on Patreon or on TikTok, if we decide to pull anything from this, I want to show off my shirt.
Yes.
This is my MTSU alumni shirt because I am a graduate of MTSU, but also more specifically, I wore this shirt because it goes along with my story. So hint, hint, here we go. Are you ready?
If you want the same sweater as Alecia, you can go to our store.
Yes,
and
you
pick
can.
up a little twisted and uncorked sweater. It has nothing to do with Sierra's story. It was a shameless plug.
It works though. Twisted and uncorked sweater, amazing.
You need it to get through some of our stressful cases.
Yes,
I don't know
definitely.
about anybody else, but I always feel safe in a big hoodie.
Yes.
Whenever I watch a scary movie, I need a blanket or a hoodie.
Or both.
Or both. Or when I watch something really depressing, I also need a blanket or a
Yeah,
hoodie.
definitely. All right, are you ready to hear
Yes.
this scandalous story?
I am so ready.
All right, so we are going to talk about a man named Rick Singer.
Singer?
Singer.
Like singer or like...
Like singer like he sings, but he doesn't. Okay.
That's great.
I didn't know how else to describe it. Also,
Well, I was
I'm
like,
drunk,
is it
so,
like...
again?
Because I like to look up pictures sometimes. I was like, is it singer as in like SINGNER? Or like singer as in like SINGER?
Yes, the
Like
latter.
no other N.
Yeah.
I can't do math and I add other letters where they don't belong.
It's okay. You're Canadian. It's fine.
Touche. Touche. Every time I type out our notes, it's like favorite is spelt wrong. It's like, no, it's not.
Okay. Here we go. Rick Singer was born in Santa Monica, California in 1960. He played sports growing up and all through his high school and college days and eventually received a degree in athletics. After graduation, he became an athletics coach, but it didn't go well. He was good at the sport, but not so good at the dealing with the kids who played them. Yeah. He was sort of like a really boring guy. He didn't have much of a personality or the enthusiasm needed to help kids that he coached succeed. He was more bossy and mean than he was motivational. And, like, kids need motivation.
Yeah. You need to be patient.
Yeah. Eventually, he was fired or quit, depending on the source that you look at, from coaching. And he decided to go a different route with his coaching. He already had experience with athletes, but he was better at being an authority figure than a friendly figure. So this new company he opened in the 90s was going to be a little more strict. It was called Future Stars, and the purpose was to coach the kids who were already athletes on how to get recognized by colleges as athletes. So
and these are children.
Yeah, high schoolers.
Okay.
So if he wanted to get into a good college, if the child wanted to get into a good college on an athletic scholarship, they also had to have good test scores, so he helped them to be better at understanding those test scores.
Okay.
But also in the 90s, according to him, he didn't actually like the business side of this business that he created. So he sold the business and decided to stop working for them.
Okay. Yeah.
After that, he went on to work in various call centers in management positions. But, like, to me, this seems super sketchy, right? Like, in the 90s, he started this company. It seemed kind of like a good cause, like helping these college kids who are athletes get into colleges. And then he was just like, oh no, it's too much work running the business. I'm just going to sell the business. But also, I don't even want to be associated with it at all.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, weird. Okay.
I don't understand you, singer.
Super weird. So, even weirder, that was the 90s. Now we're in 2002. He decided to get back into that same career field and open another new business. However, this time it wasn't strictly for athletes. Sort of. And
I don't like where this is going.
I'll get to that part. But, like, it wasn't marketed for athletes. However, I'll get to it.
Okay.
So,
that was the biggest build up to give me fuck all, by the way.
Yeah. So the new business he opened was called The College Source. He considered it to be sort of a college counselor or college recruiter business. College recruiting at the time was, and I guess still is, I don't really know if this still exists, but basically it's a personal high school counselor. So, like, the purpose was, in California, there are many, many wealthy families with students at prestigious type high schools. What are you looking at? You're scaring me.
I think a spider just pulled up my window. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I saw the shadow and now I don't know where it went. I may need to recruit Kevin in here to get the spider.
Maybe it's a good spider.
Now that I know that it's there.
Maybe it's a mosquito-eating spider. That's always what I think. If I don't see a black widow or a, what's the other bad one?
A wolf spider?
Not a wolf spider. Brown recluse. If I don't see a black widow or a brown recluse, I'm like, maybe it'll just eat the mosquitoes for me. And I let it be.
I'm sweating. I'm going to text him. Continue.
Okay. Sorry, excuse me.
I'm texting him. I need you to come look for a spider.
So, in California, there are many wealthy families with students in prestigious high schools. So, it's difficult for one student to stand out from another. They're all prestigious schools. They're all wealthy. They're all on social media pages and YouTube becoming semi-famous. They're all looking to get into the same Ivy League colleges. They all have the same school counselor helping them at their high school. and any one of them would be just as good a candidate as the next. So to set them apart from the others, the parents would hire a personal counselor for their children so they have the best chance at getting into the college they, or their parents, want them to. Yeah.
And anybody that watches this on YouTube, I'm protecting myself.
Protecting yourself from spiders with a hood makes sense.
All
of the sense.
Sierra does not know this about me until just this minute, but I really can't deal with spiders. Like, I trap them and I wait for Kevin to get home because I can't.
There was a long, how old am I? 26 years of my life.
I like how I constantly need to remind you how old we are.
Yeah. There was a whole 26 years of my life where I was the same way with spiders until
I thought you said the same weight as spiders, and I was
no. The same way. I felt the same way until this past year when I was interning at a state park. And
state park is magic. Every time you tell me a story, I'm like...
It seriously is. I was usually the first person on the trails every morning, and I would literally, not even exaggerating, walk through spider webs. Oh. Spiders would be on my face. And it didn't bother me. I was just like, oh, you silly spider, go away. I don't know. It just made me, I don't know, being outside
I love being outside, but I don't.
I was just like, ugh, it's too happy a place to be scared right now.
That's immediately how my nature bliss is ruined when I walk through a spider web. I'm like, fuck this. I parked in this bush area by my work so that I could walk from my car with my coworker because she always parks on the other side of the parking lot, and I was trying to be sweet, and I fucking got in the car to drive the bank deposit, and there was spider webs in my car. Oh my God. And I was like, I am never parking by these bushes again. How did you get in? First of all. Second of all, where are you? And every day I come in and there's just a new spider web on my window. Inside my window.
I have to admit that when I am in my car or any place other than a state park, I do still feel the same hatred for spiders. But just something about being in a state park makes me happy. I don't even care about spiders. It's weird. I don't get it. I don't understand. Everybody go to a state park. Okay. Basically, the purpose of a college recruiter is to talk to the high schooler about their goals, their grades, help them study, get them into extracurricular activities, and help them find mentors to use as references on their college applications. Kind of seems like such a nice thing for Rick Singer to want to do to help these kids. But as we already know from his time coaching athletics, he's not great with the kids.
Not so much with the patience or the coaching part.
Yeah. So how would coaching them educationally be any different? Well, it wasn't, for the most part. But he was a good businessman. He was a smooth talker. And he was able to make a huge living off of his new career by basically lying to the parents about how well he was truly doing in his career. Do you have a question? Why is your
I was waiting for you to finish your sentence. The song for this episode is Smooth Operator.
Yes. That's amazing. I love it.
When you said that, I was like, Smooth Operator.
Yeah, perfect.
Alecia, make a note for yourself accordingly.
Yes, please. Please, future Alecia. Notes now. Okay. So at first, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He talked to the students, he gave them pointers, he helped them get into good colleges. But most of the ones who did get in from his talking were already pretty sure they could have done it without his help. Their parents were just nervous and had the extra money to blow to make them feel more confident. Rick charged $1,500 for high school freshmen, $2,000 for high school sophomores, and $2,500 for high school juniors and seniors.
He should be ashamed of himself.
Oh, yeah. And of course, he made sure to tell their parents that their best success would come if he helped them every single year from freshman to senior. So
Book him. So he's preying on kids and parents.
yeah, $8,500 total for their personal counselor. Sort of. Again, I'll get to that. The price, it's a mess. Okay. So anyway.
Slogan for this episode, I'll get to it.
I'll get to it. Yeah. In the early days of his career, he was making good money. He had hired many workers and coaches. He had over 700 students, and the business made over $1 million in 2004 alone. In 2007, Rick Singer opened another business that, again, did the exact same thing. It was called Edge College and Career Network, and it was nicknamed, quote unquote, The Key. So like the key to success type thing. Yeah.
So lame.
Big time. This one on its website boasted claims of helping both high school students and adults in getting into colleges that they desired for their undergraduate and graduate degrees. He also eventually created a charity foundation related to the business. It was called the Key Worldwide Foundation, and the money donated into the foundation was moved around and donated back to the colleges that his students got into. So again, like, good cause, right? Sort of.
Is it
Except,
really?
no, it wasn't. Wrong.
10 points for
where, this foundation is where all of the problems were hidden. So now we're going to get into those problems.
It all sounded like a problem before, but...
Oh, yeah. So, when Singer counseled these children in the beginning, like I said, it was working. Most, more or less, were getting into the colleges they wanted. Although, again, they kind of were already on the right path anyway without his help. But when a few kids started not getting into the colleges they wanted, it made Singer's statistics, his numbers, look bad. If he had bad reviews or showed that his methods didn't work, then he wouldn't get more families hired on with his company.
To scam.
Yeah.
Such a shame.
His company wasn't the only one in this business, so he needed to have a competitive advantage over the others. This is when the idea of the side door policy was born.
Oh, no.
So I need to explain the doors for a minute so you can get a better understanding of the side door. A front door policy of getting into college is the way that all of us, no money having people, live our lives and go to college. You study your ass off. You volunteer for everyone you can fit into your schedule. You play sports. You do extracurricular activities. You write and rewrite your college essay until it's perfect. You look and act the part for a student who should be accepted into an Ivy League college. You take the normal, fair path of getting in. That's the front door. The back door policy is for the really wealthy, and it happens all the time still today, even after this scandal.
Is that when people, like, pay their way into college?
Pretty much. In this way, you mostly look and act the part, but maybe you don't play a sport, maybe your grades aren't better than all the others, but your parents have enough money to make a donation in your name to the school that you want to go to.
Gotcha.
And this isn't like a couple $100. This isn't even a couple $100,000. These donations are usually $3 million or more, and you aren't even guaranteed to get in.
That's insane.
But it looks good to the admissions committee to accept someone whose family is wealthy enough to donate that amount of money without the guarantee. Because now the admissions committee...
Haven't,
Did you stain your shirt?
Yeah. Haven't, like... It's not the first time and it won't be the last. I didn't want you to trip. Isn't that, like, how so many celebrities have gotten prison time, though, for, like...
Well, that's
trying
the
to
story
buy
I'm
their
talking
kids'
about.
way into... Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So shut up, Alecia. Okay. Continue to pour soda water on your shirt.
Yes. Now the admissions committee is thinking, well, if they'll donate this amount without a guarantee of getting in, think about all the money they'll donate once their child is accepted and is a student. It benefits the school to have a student whose parents are wealthy enough to basically throw away $3 million or more because the school could use more money from that family in the future. So that's the backdoor policy.
Vultures.
And, yeah. Even though no school will admit that the money is a deciding factor, it definitely is. However, even wealthy families can't always afford to do this. Sometimes they have too many children to give $3 million per kid to get into the college
Per
they
school.
want. Yeah. Maybe the wealthy family has an actress mother or actor father who isn't currently acting, so $3 million is too much at the given time.
Yeah.
These are the people that Rick Singer invented the side door policy for. The side door policy focuses mainly on the athletics department of colleges. Because of his previous job as a business, Singer knew a lot about college athletics, and he knew a lot of people in the athletics department of these prestigious colleges.
Right.
Remember before, I mentioned not all of the students who Singer was a counselor for now were athletes.
Yeah.
This is me getting back to it. One of the things that Singer did to help guarantee these students to get into college that they wanted was he turned them into athletes. And he didn't teach them to be good athletes. He literally used pictures of them playing in the pool and photoshopped their bodies onto pictures of people playing water sports. Or he used pictures of them sitting on a row machine in the gym and photoshopped it onto pictures of people who row actual boats as a sport. Or playing basketball in the backyard of their home onto a photo of someone playing basketball in a gym in a game. So these kids who didn't play sports at all, Singer told the athletics department at these colleges that they were athletes. So like a complete fucking scam. Like 100% scam.
Yeah.
And here is where we get back to the cost of the children's education. Singer told the families that the side door policy was going to cost them money. Not nearly as much as the back door policy, though. So, like, no worries. No $3 million. Singer charged the families anywhere from $17,000 to $75,000. He had the families donate the money to the Key Foundation that he owned, and then the Key Foundation donated a portion of that money to the athletic department that the student was going into. Not all of it, though, because
slimy motherfucker.
he still needed to turn a profit, right?
Yeah. He still needs to dip his toes in the company pot.
Right.
What did I just say?
So if he pretended the student was a rowing athlete, some of the money would go to the rowing department. If it was a basketball athlete, the money would go to the basketball department. If the student, quote unquote, sailed, the money would go to the sailing department at the school that the child was applying to.
Okay.
The head of each of these departments was able to be on the deciding board of who gets to be admitted to the college if they were applying through the athletic scholarship route. Yeah. So usually the money wouldn't be donated until after the committee accepted the student. Of course, the student didn't know they were admitted yet. Only the athletics department and the admissions department knew, who told Singer, who would tell the families, and all they had to do was donate the money into his foundation, and it would be a guaranteed acceptance for their child.
Which is, like, not how that shit works. Like,
it's fucking ridiculous.
Is nobody doing their research on this? Like, ugh. Do your research before you give people money, people, okay?
Oh, yeah. All of these parents thought that Rick Singer was some sort of magical genius. And the kids had no idea the whole time. They didn't know they were being admitted on an athletic scholarship. They didn't know their pictures were being cropped and photoshopped. And they didn't even play the sport once they got accepted into the school. So, like, it's all a humongous scam. That didn't matter to the athletic directors because they still got the money. So, like, whatever. Sometimes it didn't work this easily. Sometimes the students' grades weren't good enough to get into the college. And in this case, Singer had a fix for that as well. He had an acquaintance who was able to ensure that the grade the student would get on the ACTs or SATs was what the college wanted. Mark Riddell is a Harvard graduate who was taking medical classes while maintaining his place as a star tennis athlete when he was in college. He came from a wealthy family and would eventually kind of sort of marry into a wealthy family. After he graduated from Harvard, he decided to pursue professional tennis instead of the medical field. Neither really panned out. He moved to Florida. Sorry. Things
crash,
are
burn.
falling. He moved to Florida and started working for IMG Academy, which is a boarding school where many professional tennis players were found. He was a college counselor there, but he had gotten into some trouble when he was speeding on a boat while intoxicated.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, no, please don't. Don't drink and drive. Even a boat. Please and thank you.
Or a pedal bike. Just don't do it.
Yeah, just not even a horse. Like you can get in trouble, okay? When you drink, you stay home / go on foot / don't fucking interact with other people while on foot.
Or other
that's
animals.
Public
Or
indecency. Public intoxication, all the
Is
things.
it? Oh no.
Yeah.
I do that all the time when
In
I'm drunk.
America, that's called public intoxication if you're in a
Oh,
heavily
no.
populated area while you're drunk.
Oh.
Stay away from the people who will call the police.
You're drunk.
Yeah. So Mark, soon after his intoxication incident, married his wife, Sandrina, who was just recently divorced. And before her divorce, she was a successful A successful businesswoman. But on top of that, she got to keep a lot of the assets in the divorce. So Mark, probably a trust fund kid with a wife who was pretty well off herself, says that after they had their first baby, they were hard up on cash, which fucking how? Anyway, he needed to make
with all of this money.
Yeah, he needed to make a little extra money, so he started working for Rick Singer. Mark was also an exam proctor as a side gig. He proctored ACTs and SATs. So basically, in order to make the students that Singer was quote-unquote helping get the score that they needed, there was this whole elaborate plan that they had to go through. First, Singer would tell the parents that they have to have their child test with a professional so that the kid could get extra time on their test. He'd tell the parents that all the wealthy families did this so that their students had the best shot at scoring well on the test. The parents would tell their kids, hey, I'm just trying to get you some more time so that you can go back and check your work on the test and so that you're not stressed out when you actually have to take the test. Yeah. So when you go in and get tested by this professional, you should purposely do bad and take a long time. And when they did that, they would get approved for extended time by the professional. Then, the week of the ACTs or SATs at their school, the family would travel to a college visit in another town, making the student unable to take the exam with the rest of the school. No problem, though. The family would just hire a proctor to give their kid the exam in the town that they traveled to. Mark Riddell was the hired proctor. The student would take the exam just as they were supposed to, with Mark proctoring and no one else in the room. What the kid didn't know was that the bubble answer sheet they were writing their answers on was not actually their legal answer sheet for the exam. It was just a piece of paper with some bubbles on it. After they finished their exam, In the original amount of time, because they didn't actually need the extra time, they left, and Mark Riddell would pull out their actual legal answer sheet and take this test himself during their quote-unquote extra time. And Mark, being in his 30s and taking a test designed for juniors in high school, passed the test with almost excellency for the kid. So, like, they didn't take the test. I mean, they took the test, but everything that the kid answered on their test did not count. Mark took the test for them. The cost to the parents for this guaranteed SAT or ACT grade was $15,000. The amount paid to Mark Riddell was $10,000, and Singer kept the other $5,000.
I was trying to keep track of the math, and I've given up now.
I'm trying to keep track for you, mostly in my case.
You're doing a very good job, but I was like, where is this money going? Like, he's bringing it all, like, and I get it. Like, who knows what he's paying these people to do these things, but it's like, so slimy.
So, at some point during his business, Rick Singer decided that he really liked this additional $5,000 he was making from the guaranteed test scores. During his time counseling the students, he would give them practice ACT and SAT tests. And eventually, even when they did good, he would tell their parents that their scores weren't good enough to get into the college that they wanted, and the only way around this was to hire Mark Riddell. So he was unnecessarily charging the parents and having Mark take the tests just so he could get that extra $5,000 from those parents. Yeah. Bribing the athletics departments and ensuring that the students' test scores were good enough to get into the Ivy League school of their dreams was basically a surefire way to get them in. But just to be safe, Rick Singer also, on a few occasions, lied about the ethnicity of the students who were applying.
Saying that they were...
Schools are rated on how good or bad they are based on many different things. One of those things being the diversity at the school. So to ensure that a university remains a diverse school, they usually purposely choose to accept a certain number of minority applicants every year, even if the white students look better on paper. I mean, usually they look better on paper because they were given better opportunities in life to get where they are and are super rich. So, like, whatever, I'm not hating on that. But the issue is that Rick Singer knew this. And so he would mark a student as being of Asian or Hispanic or African descent on their application, even though they were not, in order to get them chosen as a part of the minority community that the university would accept that year.
Which is fulfilling this guarantee.
Oh, God, it's so fucking bad. It's so bad.
That is so awful.
Like, first of all, how dare you? But second of all, like, now that you're saying that this person is of minority descent and they're not, it like skews the actual statistics. So the statistics could be completely wrong for that school, and we wouldn't know because people like fucking Rick Singer fake it.
Yeah.
The FBI was onto Rick Singer early on.
Singer, that's a hard name to say.
Rick Singer. His name is actually William Rick Singer, I believe, but nobody calls him William. They just call him Rick. So, William Richard Singer. Anyway.
He sucks either way.
He sucks. Ugh, you'll see how much he sucks at the end.
Oh, okay. No.
So, the FBI was onto him early on, and they started tapping his phone and listening into all of his conversations that he had with his clients. Most of the Netflix original documentary that I watched on this case, which was called Operation Varsity Blues, was a reenactment of the actual conversations that he had on the phone because they were tapping it the whole time.
What?
Eventually, the FBI was able to get help from one of the athletic directors that Singer was working with. The athletic director told Singer that he wanted to have a meeting to discuss one of the applicants and asked Singer to meet him at a hotel. But when Singer got to the room, the FBI was there waiting for him.
Oh, no.
Just like with the entire scheme that Singer had been in charge of, he only cared about himself once he got caught. He immediately told the FBI that he would work with them to bring down everyone else he was involved with. While he sat in the hotel room, he made many calls to his clients and his associates about their agreements while the FBI listened in. They wanted him to get his clients to basically say out loud that they are agreeing to pay him money for the service of getting their child accepted into a school. And they wanted him to get his associates to say that they will accept money from him to accept a student into their athletics department at the school. And he did. Many of the clients and associates said yes, they know exactly what they're agreeing to. The ones that didn't want to discuss it on the phone asked him to come to their home and discuss it. And when he did, he was wearing a hidden camera and a wire provided by the FBI. So many people were taken down in the scandal. And this is going to take a while, but let me get into all of the sentencing. Stanford University sailing coach John Vandemore was sentenced to 2 years of house arrest and a $10,000 fine after pleading guilty to racketeering. He accepted a total of $610,000 of donations to his sailing club, but I do have to point out, every penny of it went to the club, not a penny to himself. Okay. His story, particularly in the documentary, made me feel kind of bad. He seemed like he didn't really understand it as a bribe. He just really wanted the money for his students in the sailing club. The sailing club doesn't get much funding at the school because it isn't a sport that's watched on TV. So every donation he gets is a big deal for his students.
Oh.
Yeah, it was sad.
Oh, that kind of makes me sad.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's like 8,000 more people, so you'll
feel sad for? Okay.
Yeah. Desperate Housewives actress Felicity Huffman was sentenced to 14 days in prison, a $30,000 fine, 250 hours of community service and house arrest for a year after pleading guilty to paying $15,000 for a faked SAT test. Before I get into the rest, because there's a bunch, I want to mention that house arrest, quote unquote house arrest, is basically just the police in the county watching them because they're allowed to do things. They're allowed to leave their house. They're allowed to leave their house for work. They're allowed to leave their house for the grocery store. They're allowed to leave their house for this and that. They just have to ask before they leave for whatever it is. So most of them are able to leave.
It's pretty cushy.
Okay. Yes, definitely. Founder and chief executive of Drinking Water and Wastewater Systems, Devin Sloan, was sentenced to 4 months in prison, a $95,000 fine, 500 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest after pleading guilty to paying Rick Singer $250,000 and buying polo equipment on Amazon to pose his son as a water polo athlete.
Wow.
Yeah. An executive sales team manager, Stephen Semprevivo, was sentenced to 4 months in prison, a $100,000 fine, 500 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest after pleading guilty to paying Singer $400,000 to portray his son as a tennis athlete when he was not. Gordon Kaplan, a lawyer, and this is one of the people who was like, I'm not talking to you about this over the phone. And he came to his house and like had a little camera in his button on his button-down shirt and a wire. Anyway, he was sentenced to 1 month in prison, a $50,000 fine, and 250,000 hours of community service. Oh, and a year of house arrest. after pleading guilty to paying Singer $75,000 just to take his daughter's ACT test. Like, not even anything athletic, just to take the test. A Napa Valley winemaker, named Augustin Cunes Jr. was sentenced to 5 months in prison, a $100,000 fine, and 500 hours of community service when he pleaded guilty to paying Singer $300,000 to fake his daughter's SAT exam and pass her off as a water polo athlete. Founder of International Dispensing Corporation, Gregory Abbott, and his wife, Marcia, were sentenced to 1 month in prison each, separate $45,000 fines, and 250 hours of community service each, after pleading guilty to paying Singer $125,000 to improve their daughter's test scores. Packaged food entrepreneur Peter Jan Sartorio was sentenced to 1 year of probation, a $9,500 fine, and 250 hours of community service after pleading guilty to paying Singer $15,000 for an ACT test for his daughter. Prosecutors claimed that the only reason the judge sentenced him so lightly is because he was less wealthy and less well known as all the other parents sentenced in this case. They actually wanted a jail sentence from this guy, but the judge gave him probation instead. So, I mean, I don't know, whatever. A jewelry business owner named Marjorie Clapper was sentenced to 3 weeks in prison, a $9,500 fine, and 250 hours of community service after pleading guilty to paying $15,000 to Singer for her son's ACT test. Singer also changed the race of Clapper's son on his application to reflect that he was a minority student for a competitive advantage, but Marjorie said she wasn't aware of that at the time. So, I don't know, whatever. Was she aware? I don't know. A real estate developer named Robert Flaxman was sentenced to 1 month in prison, a $50,000 fine, and 250 hours of community service after pleading guilty to paying $75,000 for his daughter's ACT test.
What's the difference between an ACT and an SAT?
So, honestly,
for us non-Americans.
Honestly, I can't tell you. Sadly. I never took the SAT. The SAT costed money to take at my school. I went to a public school that wasn't prestigious. So it costed money to actually take. But I've literally, let me think. I went to St. Leo University. I went to Ashford University. I went to one university. I don't remember what it's called. I went to Gulf Coast State College, and I went to Middle Tennessee State University. I've been to 5 colleges, I guess. I won't call them all universities. I've been to 5 colleges in my life, and not one of them cared about either of my scores. I've never taken the SAT test. The ACT test was given at my school, and it's a test out of, I want to say 36 points total, and I got like a fucking 22 or something, which is like below average. I think the average is like 30. And then the SATs are usually, I don't want to say this wrong, I never took it, my school didn't give it, and I didn't pay for it, but I think most prestigious quote-unquote Ivy League schools ask for it, but it's a score out of 1,800, and I think the average quote-unquote is like 1,200, but whatever. They're just fucking tests that are stupid anyway. Like,
I can't believe your school would charge you for that.
Also, like, it's a test. It's not even a test based on your knowledge. It's a test based on things that are like...
It's an aptitude test, yeah.
Right, it's an aptitude test, but it's a test that's like kind of designed for minorities to fail, honestly. Because, like, I don't know, they ask questions that are like things that people in minority schools, which I was in a minority school in my high school. My school was probably, honestly, at most 30 to 40% Caucasian people. Like, I went to a very minority school.
Yeah.
But, like, it's questions that, like, most, I guess, minority schools don't even have the aptitude to. It's not normal things that are asked. Like, okay, so I saw on probably a tweet or something one time, one of the questions from one of these randomized tests was like, which animal weighs closest to, like, weighs the least, basically. And it was like a dog, a elephant, a giraffe, or a parakeet. And obviously the answer is a parakeet. But a lot of people don't know what a fucking parakeet is. Like, minority, they don't know what a fucking parakeet is, so they chose dog.
Yeah.
That's the least of all of them other than parakeet. So, like, it's I feel like it's a test designed to make minorities fail. It fucking sucks.
I don't like
So, yeah, it's the worst. Anyway. But I did want to point out that the ACT and /SAT tests were paid by Mark Riddell, who is the one who took the tests. He only got $10,000 for each. Most of the time.
Like, for taking the test.
Right. He basically took the test for them. I mean, he did take the test for them. They took the test themselves, but then he didn't put their answers into the system. He took it for them and then sent his own answers into the system. But Mark Riddell said, not Mark Riddell. Mark Riddell's the one who took the test. He got paid $10,000. Rick Singer said that he charged $15,000 for each test. But some of these people, such as Robert Flaxman, the last one that I said, paid $75,000 for this test, not $15,000. So, like, you can tell that Rick Singer, based on the wealth of the parent he was talking to, he knew how much to ask for.
He would adjust,
Yeah. He adjusted to, like,
slimeball.
how rich they were. It's insane.
Yeah. What an asshole.
Okay, so continuing. A marketing executive and the author of the book called The Modern Girl's Guide to Sticky Situations, named Jane Buckingham, sorry, I'm drunk, was sentenced to 3 weeks of prison and a $40,000 fine after pleading guilty to paying Singer $50,000 for her son's ACT test. And this one I just think is so ironic that she wrote a book called The Modern Girl's Guide to Sticky Situations when obviously her way to get out of sticky situations was by throwing money at it. But, okay.
So maybe don't take her advice.
Yeah, maybe don't. So businessman Jeffrey Bizak was sentenced to 2 months of prison, a $250,000 fine, and 3 years of house arrest after pleading guilty to paying Singer $250,000 to guarantee his son's acceptance into college as a volleyball recruit when he wasn't a volleyball player.
Weird.
Yeah.
Seems to be a trend.
Mm-hmm. Toby McFarlane, an insurance executive, was sentenced to 6 months in prison, a $150,000 fine, and 200 hours of community service after pleading guilty to paying Singer $450,000 to guarantee his daughter's acceptance as a soccer recruit and his son's acceptance as a basketball recruit. His son's application claimed he was a 6'1" basketball player when in fact his son was 5'5". So, like,
I also think I'm a 6'1" basketball player, so I relate. It's tough, okay, for us little people.
I get it.
Gotta dream big.
The harshest sentence so far was for Douglas Hodge, the former CEO of an investment company. He was sentenced to 9 months in prison, a fine of $750,000, and 500 hours of community service because he pleaded guilty to paying Singer $500,000 for athletic recruitment of both his son and his daughter. However, he also asked Singer for help with his oldest daughter in 2008 and his youngest son in 2018. No money was given to Singer at those times, though. He didn't actually help for those two, but he had 4 kids. 2 of them were helped, 2 of them were not. Michael Carter, a tennis coach at a college, was sentenced to 6 months in prison and a $20,000 fine for pleading guilty to accepting $100,000 in bribes from Singer. Unlike the sailing coach that I talked about first, this one actually kept that $100,000 for himself.
No.
And he was also ordered to give $60,000 back. I think to his school, but it doesn't actually clarify who that money went back to, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they would ask that money to go back to Singer. Maybe to the government in general. America's pretty shitty like that, so maybe, but like I don't know.
Okay.
Michelle Janeves, who is the heiress to the Hot Pocket.
Oh, shit.
Her father invented the Hot Pocket.
Can you imagine that being your title? Just a quick
Right?
side note.
Heiress to the Hot Pocket.
Yes, that's right. The Hot Pocket.
She was sentenced to 5 months in prison, a $250,000 fine, and 2 years of house arrest after pleading guilty to paying Singer $300,000 for her 2 daughters' ACT scores and for guaranteeing one of their entrances as a volleyball recruit.
Just one.
Yeah. The other one was like good to go. She didn't even need to have the ACT test taken for her.
Oh, okay.
The mom was just like an asshole. Like, trust your fucking children. They're smart. Parents Elizabeth and Manuel Henriquez pleaded guilty to paying Singer $450,000, $50,000 for one of their daughter's ACT scores and SAT scores, and $400,000 to pass off their daughter as a tennis recruit to get into college. Elizabeth was sentenced to 7 months in prison, a $200,000 fine, and 300 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest. Manuel was also sentenced 6 months in prison, $200,000 fine, 200 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest. This next one, I Googled how to say her name, and I think it is Shui Shunying.
Nailed it!
Mother out of BC, Canada, who is of Japanese descent, was sentenced to 5 months in prison, a $250,000 fine, after pleading guilty to paying Singer $400,000 to guarantee her son's acceptance as a soccer recruit. He didn't play soccer.
Don't bring that shittiness to Canada. Get out of here.
Oh, she's not the only one.
I know.
Mother Karen Littlefair was sentenced to 5 weeks in prison, a $209,000 fine, 300 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest after pleading guilty to hiring an associate of Singer's to take her son's college classes for him for $9,000. So, like, not only is he like, I can get your son in, he's like, I can take the classes for him. Like, what the fuck? What are these children doing? Yeah.
What's the point? Like,
they are doing nothing. Okay. Anyway,
No,
businessman David Sidhu from Vancouver was sentenced to was sentenced to 90 days in prison, a $250,000 fine, and 1 year of house arrest after pleading guilty to paying Singer $100,000 for the ACT tests for both of his sons. Full House's Aunt Becky actress, Lori Loughlin, and her fashion designer husband, Massimo Guellini, they spent months arguing for a not guilty plea before finally taking a guilty plea deal.
And I'm sure everybody saw this on the tabloid front covers.
Oh, yeah,
where
for
I saw this.
sure. They pleaded guilty to paying Singer $500,000 to guarantee both of their daughters' acceptances as row crew athlete recruits. So these are the kids that the parents were like, hey, get on our row machine that we have in our garage and work out. And they took pictures of their daughters rowing on the row machine. And Singer used the pictures of them rowing on the row machine to make it look like they were rowing on a boat. Which is retarded.
It's like,
I'm sorry.
really?
Stupid.
That's really stupid.
So stupid.
You could
I
literally
don't
just row on a
understand-
boat.
Like,
That's a concept too.
right. Like, okay, for one, you can row on a boat. For two, I don't understand how these pictures looked good enough for the colleges
people to buy
them.
it. Yeah, it's like you're an Ivy
how
League school.
dumb
You're gonna
are
buy
you?
this Mickey Mouse Photoshop job. This
Seriously, it was awful.
did your battery fall out again?
No, it just decided to not work on me. It's all right. I fixed it. All right, so Lori was sentenced to 2 months in prison, a $150,000 fine, 100 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest. Massimo was sentenced to 5 months in prison, a $250,000 fine, 250 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest. Also, I want to point out that all of the couples who were sentenced in all of these, one parent got to serve their sentence while the other one was out, and the other parent didn't have to serve their sentence until the other parent got out of prison. So, like,
how cushy is that?
It is super fucking cushy, but also, I mean, not that it's deserved, but the kids didn't have to go without both of their parents for any point of time.
That's true.
Peter Damaris was sentenced to 1 day in prison.
1 day?
Right.
What's the fucking point?
I don't fucking know. A $95,000 fine and 3 years of house arrest after pleading guilty to paying Singer $300,000 to guarantee his son's acceptance as a tennis recruit. Did not play tennis.
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 Martin Fox, who was a president of a private tennis academy, was sentenced to 3 months in prison, a $95,000 fine, 250 hours of community service, and 1 year of house arrest for being Singer's associate. He would help Singer find college athletic directors and coaches to work with. He was also required to forfeit $240,000 that he made from helping Singer. But again, I don't know who he was giving the money back to. I don't think it was giving it back to Singer. Maybe it was giving it to the government. For whatever reason, he had to forfeit the $240,000 in bribes that he got to someone. Parents Todd and Danielle Blake pleaded guilty to paying Singer $250,000 for guaranteeing their daughter's acceptance as a volleyball recruit. Todd was sentenced to 4 months in prison, a $125,000 fine, 100 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest. Diane was sentenced to 6 weeks in prison, a $125,000 fine, 100 hours of community service, and 2 years of house arrest. Nikki Williams, an employee of the independent school district that administered the ACT and SAT exams, was sentenced to 1 year of probation for accepting money from Singer, which was given to her to ensure that Mark Riddell was the proctor hired for the specific exams that he needed to fake for the students. She was also made to forfeit $12,500 that she made from Singer.
That's not a lot.
No. I don't know how much she was given.
Yeah.
Honestly,
true.
But because all she did was ensure
but just
that.
Compared to the other.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Quantity, yeah.
Also,
like, this sucks. Like, so many people bust their butts to get into these schools.
Seriously.
and like literally kill themselves. And then there's people like scamming parents that genuinely want their kids to do well. I'll bet they shouldn't do these things and pay people off.
Right. That's the craziest thing to me is like these parents like
still gave somebody money knowing
oh
what
yeah,
was happening.
they were totally like accepting or giving bribes and things like that. But like I don't know. I feel like it came from a good place, mostly.
No, it definitely came from a good place.
But it's shitty that they had the money to
they
do
all
it and others
paid
didn't.
their dues, as you're describing, but
right.
Ugh.
So the last
Can you imagine
person
being these kids though,
oh,
like
God,
looking at your parents
kids.
and being like, "Okay, so I didn't get in on my own accord, or like I
but
didn't."
the
Like, do you think they
shittiest
knew?
part is they didn't. They didn't. All of them
Okay.
didn't. I think one
That's
of
what I
them
was gonna
did.
ask
I
you.
don't remember which one. I think one of the parents told their kid and was like, "Hey, we're doing this." But all of the rest, the parents completely lied to, and the tabloids like fucking roasted the children for this. And
Oh, that
because
sucks.
now that they're in college, they got into college this way. Some of them got suspended from school. Some of them didn't actually get in because the school found out like right before all of this big scandal came out, and they were like, no, I'm not letting you in actually because we're gonna look bad." So like
That sucks.
and they could have gotten in on their own. That's the shittiest part is most of them could have gotten in there on their own, but Rick Singer said that they couldn't because he wanted the parents to give them money.
Yeah. Ugh.
So like it's
So
the
he
fucking
played on a
worst.
parent's like genuine emotions of wanting their kids
Right.
to succeed.
Exactly.
And then in turn, all of these kids are suffering because they could have done it. But,
Yeah.
Ugh. That's
Yeah.
I'm so mad by that.
It's awful.
Like, I didn't go to a great university, but it's like you're under such scrutiny and you're
Yes.
so stressed out. And then
Yes.
it's like in Canada, we don't have an SAT or anything like that, but we have final exams. And
Right.
we have what's called provincial exams, which are administered throughout high school, that high schools look at.
Yeah.
So it's not even in your like last graduating
So
year.
for me, because I am in the military, basically the military pays for any college that I don't know if it would pay for an Ivy League quote unquote
Like if you
school.
were like, I'm gonna go to Yale.
Yeah, I don't
I'd
know
be
if it
like,
would
you
pay
can
for
go
that.
fuck yourself.
But it pays for almost any other school that I want. So I took the ACTs, like I said. I think I got a 22 out of 36, which is like average / below average. Like not bad, but not great. No school has ever asked me for my ACT scores. I didn't even take the SATs. No school has ever asked me for my SATs. Like, I've never been asked for anything. But again, I was in the military, so I'm not sure if that
If they're
has
not
something to do
asking
it.
because of that, yeah.
Right. But still, like, you don't, like, let this be a PSA. You do not fucking have to go to an Ivy League school. First of all, Ivy League schools are a bunch of fucking assholes who the only reason they even accept minorities is because it fucking makes them look good. Like, they're awful. They're awful. Don't fucking pay for an Ivy League school. They are the worst. You can get the same education at any school that isn't Ivy League. Like, don't fucking pay that much for an Ivy League school. They're not worth it.
Like, UBC isn't an Ivy League school, but it's the best school in Vancouver. And, like, for a regular university, like, not specialized programming. And I got into that. And I was like, fuck yeah, but it's double the price that I paid to go to Kwantlen. And it's like, why? So you can have 500 people shoved into one classroom?
Yeah,
And,
it's
like, what?
ridiculous.
It's like, no.
All right, the last person who was sentenced so far
Wah, wah, wah.
is a soccer coach at one of the colleges named George Salcedo, who was sentenced to 8 months in prison and 1 year on house arrest after pleading guilty to accepting bribes from Singer to accept certain students as soccer recruits into the college he worked for. He also had to forfeit $200,000 he was paid by Singer. Again, he didn't, like, keep this for his soccer club like the sailing guy did. He just fucking kept the money.
Yeah, ugh. So, okay, why did the sailing guy have to get charged?
I know. I mean, he only got house arrest, so it's not too bad.
I know.
He also had to, like, pay fines and stuff.
I know.
But
it just
at
makes
least
me
he didn't have to go
sad.
to jail. Yeah, when
Yeah.
I watched the documentary, I was like, oh, that poor guy. Like, he did not
Because
understand what was
everybody
going
that
on.
you've mentioned, it's like, yeah, you fucked up. You deserve to serve that time.
Oh, yeah,
But then,
for
like,
sure.
this one, you started it on such a sad note. It's like,
Yeah.
oh.
So, that is the end of the sentencing. And as of March 19th, 2021, which was not too long ago.
Like a month ago.
Yeah. Those are the only people who have been charged, convicted, and sentenced. There are some associates of the scandal, like athletic directors, and even a few parents that have pleaded not guilty to the charges that they were presented with and are, I guess, awaiting
Under
trials.
review?
Yeah, I guess they gotta go to trial for it. But the biggest deal that I want to mention is, as of right now, Rick Singer is just out there living life.
What?
He goes to the gym every morning. He's doing pretty much whatever he wants. Because he agreed to help the FBI bring in more clients and associates of his, he is currently basically considered a not so confidential informant. And so they haven't sentenced him.
Are you kidding me?
Apparently,
So he's the mastermind behind all
yeah.
this bullshit,
Oh, yeah.
and he's getting to walk scot-free because he tattled?
Exactly.
Oh,
Apparently,
I'm so mad.
he could be facing up to 65 years in prison and a $1.25 million fine. But he made $25 million in the scandal. And again, as of right now, he is just out there. He's the ringleader. He's the ringleader of the scandal, and he just lives his life
I'm so
without
mad.
consequences.
I'm so mad.
Yeah. And that's the end of my story. That he
Are-
fucking doesn't... He's not in trouble right now, and it pisses me off so much. Because the whole time, he was only for himself, and now that it's a fucking big deal, he's still only for himself. He doesn't give a shit about anyone.
Wow.
It's the fucking worst.
He ruined so many people's lives and he doesn't
So
even
many
care.
lives. So many
Ugh,
lives, and he's just,
wow.
like, out there living.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
No murders, still a humongous
hope-
crime.
And I hope he gets fucking charged.
I hope so too.
Because
Like,
that
soon.
sucks.
Yeah.
Like, even beyond the parents. Like, these kids don't have a chance now. Like, their reputation is besmirched.
Yeah, big time.
Ugh. I would have, if I had known this, I would have worn my university sweater, but, you know, a twisted uncorked sweater is always good. And
The
you know,
only thing
shout out to soda water, because I got red wine on my sweater, and all is good.
The biggest PSA for this episode is like, fucking fuck Ivy League schools, okay? There's no point. You get the same education somewhere else.
And it's like, yo, I think we've both proven that. We're both pretty smart cookies.
Yeah. It's insane. So, yeah.
Fuck
you liked
Ivy
this
League
story.
schools.
Fuck
Trust
Ivy
your
League
children. And that they're going to succeed on their own. And, yeah. And
Yeah.
Rick Singer sucks.
Rick Singer fucking sucks.
The worst. The absolute worst. Sierra definitely brought us up and also made us angrier. So I don't know. If
I'm sorry that we were angry. At least we got to laugh at, like, fucking, no offense,
Dummies.
Full House's Aunt Becky and the heiress of Hot Pockets. Like, it was a little fun. It was a little fun, this episode.
Definitely fun. Definitely not torture-related bummers.
Right.
So, except for the start of this episode, because that seems to be my niche right now, is learning about medieval torture. But yeah, we love you guys lots as per usual. We will roll out next week for a new category.
Yes.
And
new
reminder to
categories.
send us your stories.
Please send us your
And-
stories. We really, really, really want to do another listener story. I have 2 personal stories that I have to tell still. And I'm
She's itching
waiting.
to tell them.
I am.
We need.
But I'm waiting to have a couple more so we can, like, do a whole bonus episode on that. While you're waiting, we will have a bonus episode this month on something new. I don't want to give it away, but we do have a bonus episode coming out this month. It's not listener stories because we didn't get enough, but it is a different kind of story.
It'll be fun little crossover.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
I'll say that much.
Yes. And, well, I'm sure the people will already know by the time this episode comes out, but it might not be out yet. So you'll know what we're talking about. It just won't be out yet.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Also a reminder, if you want to support the show, you can leave us a review, tell a friend, or you can check out our Patreon page. We've recently done some rejigging, and our tiers start at $1. So
yeah,
if you're able to support, great. And if you want to hang out with us, great. Or if you want to make a one-off donation, you can do that too on our website. And we are really itching for those stories. And also, if you want to send us a screenshot of your review, we'll send you a little personal thank you in the mail.
Yeah, you'll get some stickers.
Some people have left us reviews and don't seem to send me their addresses for stickers. So
right.
let me send you things.
Yeah.
In the mail. I won't be creepy about it, I promise.
You can send us a P.O. box. It's totally cool.
Or a work address.
Yeah.
That you don't work at. Just show up later and be like, did a package arrive for me today? They're like, what? So yeah. Thank you guys again for listening. Reminder, rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode of this crazy. And we will see you next Tuesday. I don't know why I asked that like a question mark.
It is on Tuesday.
Will we be there? Are we ready? And yeah, so thanks so much, you guys. And, just don't give Rick Singer your money. If we can take away anything from this episode, just don't give him your money. And Sierra and I are going to roll on out of here. I'm going to put this drunk ass to bed.
Yes.
And in the meantime,
keep it twisted.